Hello, class. Welcome to the last week of our semester, week 8. I hope you enjoyed this class very much and it gave you a lot of things to consider and contemplate with regard to moral issues and ethics and how to make sound moral decisions and how to investigate whether an action or a policy is moral or immoral. So I hope this really complicated your thinking with some things and made you question several things with regard to whether certain issues are moral or not. And hopefully, what I hope that you gain from this class is an ability to use this analysis, these theories that we studied, the principles, duties, virtues, etc., everything that we've studied, to help you yourself on a personal level be able to be a better moral actor in this world. The one of the reasons why I love the study of ethics is it helps me to become a better person. Right? I am not a perfect person. I'm a very fallible human being, just like all of us are. However, the study of ethics helps me to become a more ethical, morally a person that's more apt to do the morally right thing. So this is why I love this class, and it helps me to operate in a certain manner that's beneficial to not just myself, but to those around me and the world at large. And to speak out when things are wrong. I don't think I have to mention to you that we're living in very interesting times in our country, where this having an ethical theory lens to look at what's going on in our society with certain people in power, to understand why what they're doing is morally wrong and why what they're doing is causing harm to other people and why those policies, actions, etc., are not correct and should not be. And hopefully, this will give us an opportunity to think when we vote, as our responsibility as citizens to vote, for whom we vote. What kind of policies, actions, behavior are we going to say is acceptable from those of our elected officials? So hopefully that will give us a little bit more of a ability to be able to discern those things, this kind of education. So anyway, I hope you got a lot out of this class. This is going to be a very short lecture with regard to our final assignment. It is tied into our chapter on animal rights and environmental ethics. The essay you're going to write on, there's only going to be one thing that you read, and that's going to be a final, well, there's going to be more things that you read, but there's only one thing of importance in our Week 8 content folder, and that is the Word document entitled Final Essay Directions and List of Sources. So here is your assignment. You're going to be right on basically our moral responsibility to combat climate change and global warming. So I give you like a little bit of a background, historical background in our country, not going back too far, but with regard to certain plans that were instituted, agreements that we went into, such as the Paris Climate Accords, and some of the efforts to undo the advances that we made in that area. So I offer, as you're writing your 4-page essay, it will be 4-page minimum, double-spaced, 12-point MLA format. You're going to write regarding some of the moral issues and arguments involved with regard to our efforts to combat climate change and global warming. And so I give you some questions to consider that you can consider in your essay to write. What it will be imperative is that you use the moral theories, duties, principles, virtues that we were learning throughout the semester and to support your arguments and contentions. Make sure that you support your arguments and statements with these ethical theories, duties, principles, etc. One thing I state in our directions and I need to repeat is please do not write an essay with regard to whether there is such a thing as climate change or whether there is such a thing as global warming. Both of those things do exist. There is scientific evidence to prove that they exist, and there's scientific evidence to prove that we are the cause of this through human activity. So that's not what you're going to be talking about. You're going to be talking about what moral responsibility do we have as Americans to combat climate change and global warming. So you'll have several sources that I offer for you to read and view. You do not need to read and or view all these sources except for one. The first source that's listed is chapter 10 in our book. There's an article called by James Garvey called Climate Change and Moral Outrage. That is the one source you must use as a source, as one of your sources. So you have to use at least 5 of these sources total, including the James Garvey article. There's another article in our book. It's an excerpt from Al Gore's testimony before the U.S. House of Representatives back in 2005, I believe, with regard to climate change and our responsibility. A few videos that are in here that I thought were really compelling with regard to some of the effects of climate change on some vulnerable communities domestically and globally. You also have some news articles that I thought were important because they give you some overview of some of the arguments against efforts to combat climate change, some of the reticence that we have in combating climate change, some of the issues with regard to efforts to curtail some of our efforts to curtail some of the advances that we have made with regard to our country's efforts to combat global warming and climate change and sea level rise, etc. So those will be your articles. You'll see that I attached links to all these articles and videos that will be your sources. Please make sure in your list of work cited, your MLA formatted list of work cited, that you don't just copy and paste those links. Make sure you use a properly formatted MLA list of work cited at the foot of your essay. Proper MLA format. Use the link I have in our content or in our introductory folder with regard to MLA format. Make sure you use that if you're not familiar with how to cite sources in MLA. Make sure you use in-text citations, MLA formatted in-text citations in your essay to cite your sources. Make sure you cite your sources, please. I have other resources with regard to writing a good essay on our page entitled Final Essay Resources. On that page, there's a couple links that may be helpful with regard to writing a good essay from a philosophical perspective. So feel free to use those as a resource, as a guideline as well. But that's pretty much it. So your final essay will be due on Saturday, the 21st. That will be the due date, and there will be no exceptions for after that because that will be the end of the semester. So get to it, get cracking. I hope that you find this stuff interesting and an interesting topic to analyze with regard to our responsibility, our moral responsibility to combat global warming and climate change and its disastrous effects that are happening already. So please feel free to contact me with any questions, whatever issues you may have. Again, it's been a pleasure teaching you this class. When I teach this class, I love teaching it in person. That way, we have more fruitful discussion and everything like that. But it was a pleasure teaching this class this semester to you. I hope that you enjoyed it and you got a lot out of it, and you'll be able to use this to become better people in the world today. And do good out there. Do good. Be good and do good. Right? That's the point of this class, to help us, give us like some tools, some theoretical underpinnings of how we can be better people, we can be good people. So please don't hesitate to contact me in the future if you need any assistance with regard to anything. I wish you all a very happy and healthy holiday season. Feel free to contact me for any reason whatsoever in the future should you need any assistance from me. I'm here to help you. Thank you very much. It's been indeed a pleasure, and have a great rest of your studies here at Atlantic Cape or wherever you go in the future after here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.